Welcome to our all-day movie workshop. I'm Peter, and today we're joined by friends from our Tabula Rasa online retreat weekend, and also just our regular movie workshop attendants. So welcome to you all. And so we've got a big group here today. And so I can just let you know about the day. So we'll start with a movie with David. Then we're going to have a 10-minute break. Then we'll have our breakout rooms where we'll have a chance to get in touch with any emotions or themes that came up for us. And afterwards we'll have a 45-minute break, and then we'll have a closing session which I'll be holding today. So thanks so much. I'll cross it over to David now.
Hi everyone. So beautiful to see you all your smiling faces. And we have our mystery school participants there. I see them all in the room. And we've got our Living Miracles Monastery, cozy there. You've heard of couch potatoes. We are the couch community. We are always in soft, cushy couches and chairs. Maybe it was lifetimes of being monks and nuns and sitting on hardwood boarded pews. And now we are going for the soft route to God. We're still into mysticism, but we have cushy chairs and couches for our bottoms. So I'm so glad you're with us. I see there's Lorena and her little boy from Peru joining in brand new today. I sent you a link to Lorena on for the discounted South America, so you could come and join us more often. And we always love to see the new ones that are there. Oh, there's Daniela. Oh, Patricia. I see you all. It's just so beautiful. We have Spanish translation for those of you who want to hear today's talk and see the movie with Spanish subtitles. So you just have to go to the Spanish icon, the language icon, interpretation icon, and click on Spanish if you would rather hear it in Spanish. If you want to hear it in English, make sure you click on the English. Well, today it's very exciting because I'm playing a classic movie. This is the kind of movie that is like a can opener for your mind. If you feel like your progress on the inward journey has been slow and methodical, this one is going to be a celestial speed up today. You will be smiling from ear to ear today after today's workshop, because we will go deeply into an unraveling and an undoing of the ego. And the ego has made a lot of beliefs to protect itself. It's just like a little tiny puff of nothingness. It's a tiny mad idea, Jesus calls it. And he says in A Course in Miracles, into eternity where all is one, there crept a tiny mad idea at which the Son of God remembered not to laugh. So our only mistake was taking serious the idea of separation from God, the idea from separation from our source. And yet, even though it's a tiny mad idea and it's just a tiny puff of nothingness, I want to tell you that it's an ingenious tiny puff of nothingness. What does that even mean? It means that our mind is so powerful that if we believe in it, we can seem to make up hell. we can make up conflict, war, disease. We can make up delay. We can make up sorrow. We can make up guilt and shame and pain. And today's movie is going to help us start to, step by step, go into our mind and go through a dismantling of the ego. It's unwinding your mind back to God, unwinding your mind away from the ego and toward the light. Now, two of the things that are the strongest ego defenses against love, eternal love, and light are linear time, which is an entire projection. In eternity, there is no linear time. It's just all pure bliss and love forever and ever and ever. And some of you maybe even are familiar with the Bible. I know some of you enjoy the Bible, some of you hate the Bible. I would say that everything that you need to know about spiritual awakening is actually in the Bible too. So let's not cross that off our list too fast. Some of you might remember in Corinthians, in the Bible, it says, that which is temporary will pass away, but that which is eternal will last forever. Well, that's no different than saying nothing real can be threatened and nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. It's right there in the Bible. You know, it's been there for thousands of years, and yet we have to be ready to open our hearts to God's love and to the healing power of forgiveness. So linear time is a construct of the ego, and you may notice that most of your thoughts during the day relate to the past and the future. If you wonder why you're not happy all the time, it's just thoughts of the past and future that are still hanging around in the unconscious mind, and you get little flitters and floaters during the day. Oh, what am I going to have to eat for lunch? Well, what will I have for dinner? Is it going to rain today? Is it going to be a sunny day? Will I be able to go out and take a walk? Listen, these are thoughts of the past and future. These are not Ramana Maharshi thoughts. These are not Jesus Christ thoughts. These are not Paramahansa Yogananda thoughts. These are thoughts of the ego, of linear time. And yet, we have to allow Jesus and the Holy Spirit to use the symbols of time to undo the belief in linear time. See how practical Jesus and the Holy Spirit are. They don't try to hurl you into eternity. They don't just hurl you screaming into the light. They actually come and massage your mind with beautiful movies like today, which this is a mind massage, no doubt. This is a mind massage. And it's got a lot of classic lines. The main character is Joel Barish, who's played by Jim Carrey. And Kate Winslet is going to play Clementine. Those are our main characters. But at one point, Joel is having Clementine erased from his memory, and he says to the doctor, whose name is Howard, isn't there a risk of brain damage? And the doctor answers, well, to some extent, this whole procedure is brain damage, but it's on the par with a heavy night of drinking. So don't worry about it. We're not interested in brain damage. We're interested in freeing the mind of attack thoughts, freeing the mind of judgments, freeing the mind of opinions. That's where we come to the stillness of the present moment. Now, this movie is, as I said, is a classic. It's in our Movie Watcher's Guide to Enlightenment. And when I first saw this movie in a movie theater, there was a man, an elderly man, who basically said it was the worst movie he had ever seen in his life. And why am I showing you this movie is because it uses a technique that is very uncommon in movies. And I'm talking about the general mainstream movies. It's a very unusual technique. Not in a lot of our movies, like Next or Memento, or there's so many movies we have that use the same technique. I checked it out on Google. The technique is called non-linear narrative. It's also called disjointed narrative or disrupted narrative. So just those words should let you know that this is not your everyday average movie. If it's nonlinear narrative, disjointed, and disrupted. What is it disrupting? It's disrupting the ego. that this movie is using a technique that is excellent for your meditation practice. It's excellent for your open-eyed meditation. You may even consider today's movie an open-eyed meditation where the Spirit is helping you detangle false linear memories and detangle these special relationship memories that were made by the ego to be a substitute for light. So we have a precious opportunity to really start to experientially move through what Jesus calls special love-hate relationships. Why is that important if we're going to wake up to eternity? Is that Jesus describes this ego construct of special relationships as the ego's most boasted gift, and he describes it as the ego's chief weapon. Its major weapon against the Holy Spirit is special love relationship, special hate relationship. And it's also the ego's greatest gift. So if I go into a little bit of metaphysics to give you a background, when the separation from God seemed to occur, when the fall from grace that the Bible talks about seemed to occur, not just the Bible, all religious traditions talk about the fall from grace. When this seeming fall from grace seemed to occur, the Holy Spirit was given as the answer, the immediate answer to this crazy, mad idea. So it was already over. There was no historical war to be fought. It wasn't like legions of angels fell away and turned to the dark side, and Lucifer rose up with a big group of dark angels, and then the light angels had a big fight. No. Holy Spirit's like, nah. That's how long it took for God to answer. The Holy Spirit is the answer, simultaneous. So, in other words, that's your only purpose now, is to accept the correction, accept the Holy Spirit in your mind, accept the atonement. That's your only responsibility. Do you have responsibility for houses? No. Cars? No. Cities, countries, politicians? No, no, no. Nada, nada, nada. Do you have responsibility for children? No. Parents? No. Kitty cats? No. Birdies? Tweety birds? No. You are not responsible for anything in form. You are responsible in your mind for accepting the correction of the Holy Spirit. And that's why today's movie will take you light years ahead in your spiritual awakening. You're not going to be cruising along like a snail here. You're hopping into supersonic jet today. Hold on. Hold on to your hat. The G's can be pretty strong, but you're going to love it because the correction's already occurred, and now all you have to do is accept it. So you don't have to make something happen. You don't even have to figure something out. All you have to do is accept your perfection. And that's what the Holy Spirit's correction shows, is you're perfect. Not you as a body, but your mind, your spirit, your divine mind is perfect. So what do I like about this movie? Well, it's using this disjunctive narrative approach to undo the belief in guilt. It's like if guilt was like an iceberg, this movie is like a blowtorch. I mean, a big blowtorch. It's like a giant light that can melt away guilt. And that's important because whenever you struggle with illnesses or emotional conflicts or issues with brothers and sisters or politicians or governments, that's just a projection of this iceberg of guilt. And today we're going with the blowtorch. This movie uses the technique of seemingly deleting painful memories, but it not only deletes the painful memories, it actually deletes the positive memories and the negative memories. And I know some of you are saying, I don't like that. I want the Holy Spirit to delete all the negative memories and leave the positive memories, leave my little scrapbook of positive memories. But what Jesus says is the negative thoughts in your mind are very dark. And the positive thoughts in the mind are shadows of your real thoughts. Oh my, you mean my positive thoughts? Ice cream is just a shadow of my real thoughts in heaven? Yes, that's right. There's no ice cream in heaven. It's much better than ice cream in heaven. It doesn't melt. Eternity doesn't melt. It just lasts forever and ever and ever. So we have to allow the Holy Spirit to wash away the negative, wash away the positive, and leave us with the eternal thoughts. And if this seems radical, just read workbook lesson 133, for example, from the workbook. I will not value what is valueless, where Jesus says, if it won't last forever, it has no value whatsoever. And if it will last forever, it has complete total value. So what has value is the everlasting. What does not have value at all is the passing. This is a temporal world of time and space. It's a trick. It's a sleight of hand. It's a big trick to try to fool the mind from going back to heaven, from experiencing and remembering heaven. Now I say remembering, that's an important word for this movie because this movie is all about memory. And if you have egoic false memories in your mind that you are giving belief to, that you're giving value to, that's where the upset emotions, the upsetting emotions are coming from believing in the impossible. Jesus talks about this. He starts his mind training program pretty strong there in lesson number 5 in the workbook. I'm never upset for the reason I think. I'm upset, number 6, because I see something that's not there. Number 7, I see only the past. Yeah, that's a perceptual problem for sure. And then number 8 is my mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. So anytime you get upset, you might as well just do a 5, 6, 7, 8. You want a new exercise routine? 5, 6, 7, 8. Never upset for the reason I think. I'm upset because I see something that's not there. I see only the past, and my mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. The ego tries to sneak in and upset. 5, 6, 7, 8. Work it. Work those thighs. Work those arms in a good way. 5, 6, 7, 8. You're not going to mess around with this ego. You are not going to mess around. This little tiny puff of nothingness has had enough time running your mind. 5, 6, 7, 8. You're out. You're out of there. So this movie is good because it shows the ego's greatest defense against the present moment or the holy instant. And that is its use of artificial relationships to attempt to gain a sense of intimacy. And Jesus says that the miracle will bring about true intimacy that's sometimes sought for in interpersonal relationships. So why do these romantic escapades keep crashing? Why? Even Cinderella, she finally gets the prince in the end, but in the end they both die. If you go far enough into the future, all fairy tales end in death. That's not exactly a happy ending. Sickness and death. How about eternity as your goal? Why not aim beyond the stars? Because the stars are just burning gases. Why not aim for the eternal nature of the love and light of God that's beyond time and space, beyond the stars and planets and black holes? Oh, there's Rohit, I see, from India. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha. His dad used to beat him when he was young. He would watch movies and his dad would beat him. And so he developed a huge aversion to movies. There's Rohit, he's showing up today. He's had enough of the ego. He's going to wash away those dad memories of the beatings. We're going after the whole thing today, Rohit. I love it. We're going for the home run of spiritual awakening. So, what are some of the characters in the movie? Well, there's a company in the movie that is called Lacuna. And this company, if you have too many painful memories in a relationship, this company will offer to map your brain and go in your brain to, this is all just a metaphor, but the brain to find your most painful memories and to eliminate the painful relationship from your mind by deleting, zapping the memories of the relationship. So this is the company that first Clementine goes to when she just can't take any more of her boyfriend Joel. She goes in to have Joel deleted from her memories. And then when Joel finds out about it, he is so hurt that, of course, he goes into the same company to strike back and delete Clementine. Now, this is a great premise. You won't find a movie like this. You could search for decades. You're not going to find a movie like this. But this is just symbolic of the Holy Spirit clearing the mind of all the positive and negative memories of linear time and space to come back to a state of silence, a state of stillness, and a state of absolute gratitude. Who works for Lacuna? Well, we have Patrick, Stan, Mary, and Howard. Patrick and Stan are kind of like they're the ones that really do the procedure. Mary is the receptionist, and Howard is the doctor that's in charge of the whole thing. Whoever wrote this movie, what a movie. You are, Holy Spirit, you are giving us the most enjoyable way to wake up from linear time I have ever imagined. It doesn't get any better than this. And then there's some friends, Carrie and Rob, that are friends of Joel, and they invited him to a party on the beach, and then that's where he met Clementine. And then he mentions Naomi, which is his ex-girlfriend, and we all know that thing when you feel a heartbreak, then the ego jumps right in. What about the ex? Go back to the ex, Go back to the past to try to find the intimacy. That's a nice symbol for us to see that we never will find true intimacy by going back to the past. We have to go to the holy instant with Jesus. Now, there's a poem in this movie that is so good. It's a quote from Alexander Pope, and I'm going to read it for you because I love it when movies are just based on something really deep And I think you know I love Solaris, the Solaris movie, the Dylan Thomas poem, though lovers be lost, love shall not, and death shall have no dominion. Woo! That is a smoking quote. That's coming right from the light. Here's our quote for today from Alexander Pope. How happy is the blameless vestal's lot, the world forgetting by the world forgot. Eternal sunshine of the spotless mind, each prayer accepted and each wish resigned. Wow, that says it all. That quote is the teachings of A Course in Miracles. Each prayer accepted, each wish resigned, each ego wish resigned. There's also a phrase that is so important in this movie because at the beginning of the movie, we're going to see how Joel and Clementine met. Joel was on his way to work. He was just ready to catch the train to go to his methodical, repetitive work day, just like the Beatles song, Another Day. It's just another day. He's in his loop. He's in his Groundhog Day loop. And yet, when he gets to the train station, he decides not to go to work. He bolts away and he races to barely squeeze into another train, and he decides to go to Montauk, which is a very small little place on the coast up in New England, and it's actually a beach. He goes, on a winter's day, he goes to a beach in Montauk. Why is Montauk important in this movie? It's because he needs to take a spontaneous, out-of-pattern change to break out of the routine of his linear life, to open his mind to the guidance of spirit. And he does. He breaks away from his routine. He goes to Montauk, he calls in sick, and he goes on a wintry day, he goes to this cold, windswept beach in Montauk, and that's where he meets Clementine. Why is this important? It's because we need to have the miracle of God's love come as an out-of-pattern experience in our mind that we recognize and we say yes to God. What's that song we like so much? Running for the Light? What's his name? Brendan Lake. Oh my gosh, Running to the Light. That's what Montauk is. He decides that he just needs to do something different. He can't do the same old routine that he's accustomed to. He needs to break free, and spontaneously he goes, takes a train to Montauk, where he meets Clementine. This is how spiritual awakening happens. You feel this strong feeling inside, and you feel something that you're really called to do that's so important. And as soon as you think it, the ego goes, are you crazy? You've got to go to work today. You've got to do your duties. You've got to fulfill your obligations. You've got to meet the criteria of the day, which the ego set up. And you're called to be open, to be shown that there is another way. Just like Helen Schuckman and Bill Thedford had that meeting in Bill's office, and where Bill just poured out his heart, there has to be another way. And surprisingly for him, Helen Schuckman said to Bill, you're right, Bill, and I'll help you find it. And that's how the prayer of the heart the collaboration that brought forth A Course in Miracles just started with one human being pouring their heart out and another person saying, I'll join you. I will join with you in finding that better way, the better way to live. I've had people over the years, believe it or not, they send me an email and they go, Dear David, meet me in Montauk. How's that for an email? You go, and that's all the email says. It just says, David, meet me in Montauk. Somebody has seen this movie, and it's impacted them, and they got it. They know. They've got to go for God. They've been futzing around too long with this ego, time-space construct. It's time to go for the holy instant. It's time to go for God. And of course, our closing song, Please Stay Around. When the movie ends and the credits roll, do not touch that dial. do not touch that off button. We have a song. We're going to listen to maybe a stanza and a chorus of the song, because that song is going to be the Holy Spirit singing to us, calling us out of the world of time and space into the eternal present. So, sit back, enjoy the movie. I will come in at certain points for commentary. What a fun ride we've got today. It doesn't get any more fun than having an internal dismantling of the ego that you actually enjoy. Enjoy the ride, because Joel and Clementine are doing it for all of us. And we're just going to behold the glory of seeing that we can allow time and space to be erased from our mind by the Holy Spirit. We can do it voluntarily, we can do it willingly when we realize that this is our opportunity to remember God and eternal love. So enjoy the movie. See you soon.